Recently, I got invited to H&H Americas trade show, and that was my very first trade show. I didn't know what to expect, and whatever I was thinking it's going to be, it exceeded all my expectations. I got to meet so many interesting people there, from yarn dyers to designers to some of the people who were on my channel and some people who will be on my channel. It was a 3-day show running Wednesday to Friday, but I arrived a day earlier because I got invited to the VIP influencer event at H&H. So I was afraid that my flight is going to get delayed or I'm not going to make it on time. So I arrived like super early Tuesday morning. And then I realized that I had until 3 p.m. to do something. And the very first person I've met at H&H was Bridget from Cowgirl Blues. So I offered her my help at setting up her booth. And I got a little behind the scenes feeling of what it takes to put together a booth at H&H or at any show for this matter. I even got to iron the curtains, and I don't remember last time I was ironing prior to that. So it was really fun. It was a lot of hard work, but it was also fun because people were helping each other. People were sharing some of the like pliers to pull the loose nails out of the boards and things like that. It was like really collaborative sort of environment. And let me tell you, I gained a whole new appreciation for the amount of time it takes to put a show like this together. Just the shipping, unboxing of all the yarn and sorting it and putting it together and displaying it. So much stuff, so much planning goes into that. But I had the best time doing it. So on Tuesday afternoon, I attended the VIP influencer event that H&H Americas put together. And it was very interesting. There were presentations by some industry professionals, the sponsors of that event. And we also got to see presentation by Crochet Boss. And if you haven't seen him before, check him out on Instagram. He's a professional fighter, but also does crochet in his spare time. So that was very interesting to meet Maurice there. And there were like a lot of designers and a lot of influencers, YouTubers there. I got to meet Tony from TL Yarn Crafts, and we agreed to do an interview there at the show. So check that out. It was already posted as part of this H&H experience. On Wednesday, it was the official opening of the show. And it was just nonstop whirlwind of activities. There were so many classes, so many presentations, open stage presentations, discussions. And I've learned so much. It was actually like really interesting. They covered a wide variety of topics, including how industry professionals and influencers can work together, or how to deal with difficult customers if you're a retail store. There were also demonstrations on yarn dyeing and sewing techniques. So the H&H Americas is for all kinds of hobbies. It wasn't just the yarn show. They had quilting supplies and fabrics and a lot of very interesting things there for all kinds of hobbies. I want to share with you some of the footage that I took at the show and give you a glimpse into what it was like to be on the floor. There were also a lot of social events. Every day they had a happy hour where one of the exhibitors would sponsor some wine and beer. And it was a perfect opportunity to just informally chat with people. It was this whole atmosphere of a party, basically. And as always, the best part of the show for me was meeting some of the stars of Fiberchats that I interview on my channel, but never met in real life. So Mr. Need Bear was there, and Olga Jazzy and Cecilia Campacciaro, and Bridget from Cowgirl Blues was also on my channel. And of course, my roommate at H&H Americas, Ellen Lewis from Crazy For You, who joined me there, and we spent great time at the show. So that was probably the best part for me, getting to meet my friends, who I had on my channel and spending time with them. I hope you'll enjoy what I filmed there. It's probably going to give you a little glimpse into what the show was like. And maybe it's going to convince you to go to that show next year.
Hi, so my name is Samantha Vanoy and I am the owner and creator behind Trailhead Yarns. So we do hand-dyed tensile threads for hand stitching. So embroidery, visible mending, quilting, all those types of things. And right here I'm actually holding one of our little embroidery products, which is an unkit where you stitch on top, and that's one of our threads there called Pride. We have 193 colorways. We do speckles, tonals, all the fun stuff.
Hi, my name is Peggy Allen. I'm with Junction Fiber Mill. We are in White River Junction, Vermont, and this is the first time we've ever been to a convention like this. It's big, it's daunting, a lot of big brands are here, but we're pretty excited about our Making Tracks yarn, marled, variegated, and I've walked around and I haven't seen anybody carrying anything like it. So hopefully we'll have a good convention. Again, it's a wholesale convention, so we are hoping to connect with a lot of yarn shops.
Hi, I'm Kristen Baluch. I'm the owner and designer for Little House Cottons, and these are some of my fabrics. I write and illustrate children's books, so some of the fabrics goes along with the books. This is the first one, If You Are the Dreamer, which is kind of like an updated Runaway Bunny kind of book. It's a bedtime poem. And then I have these little panel that makes these little puppets that are characters from that book. Yeah. Here's another one of my books that's called Story House, and it's a book and then it opens up into a playhouse. So you have these rooms, and then there are these stickers that you can that have characters to make the story and then words to write it. That's Story House, and the collection for this will be coming out in the fall. I also have this book is called 1 Million Trees. It's autobiographical about my family planting trees in BC in 1979, and I'll also have a collection to go with this in the fall. All the fabric is organic cotton with a very nice hand. It's very smooth and kind of a silky feel to it. The newest collection is a Christmas sweater, which is now shipping. The name Christmas sweater comes from this print, which is kind of like a dot pattern that is as if you were knitting it.
So this is a gown that I crocheted to celebrate seeing Taylor Swift in concert. It's based on a gown that she wears on her Fearless tour when she performs the song Love Story. And yeah, so I crocheted 2 separate skirts for it, and for the concert I wore the top skirt and this with shorts that I crocheted because this is a blanket. Yeah.
So this is one of my 2 costumes on display today at H&H Americas. This is Zelda from Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, the video game series. And it's actually the 3rd costume I ever made out of yarn. It's knit and crocheted. And I've made 20 total costumes. So this is a long time ago, but it's one of the ones I'm the most proud of, with all the different techniques and color work and all these different amazing pieces that went into it. So come check it out because it looks really cool.
Well, we got invited by Barocco and Lang Yarns to promote ourselves and our 2 knitting books that got translated into English. So it's Happily Knitting Socks on this half, and then
Sock You Too on this half.
And I've heard over the last couple of days that they've been quite popular already, and we hope to just improve that and make everybody addicted to knitting socks. That's the goal.
For 2 weeks, just riding between Chicago and New York, give a lot of workshops, and mostly just sign books, take pictures, and have a lot of fun.
Sounds good. How is America treating you so far?
Very good.
Yeah, everybody's been very friendly, overly friendly even, but it's a nice kind of overly friendly, so like that. But everything is so much bigger here, so much more overwhelming. So it's been an adventure already.
So tell me about the dolls.
The dolls.
That's your work.
That's my work. I am, besides knitting with Mr. Knitper, I've also published about 11 crochet books, mostly amigurumi crochet books. And in our last book, since we've been making so much knitting books, I had to have Wim as a crochet doll for my own friends. So they are in my last crochet book.
So I've heard the rumor that when you started writing the first knit book together, you didn't really knit.
No, I didn't knit. No. I've published 11. I've published 8 crochet books when Wim and I got talking, and actually I wanted to stop crocheting. I wanted to stop making books. And then I met Wim and I said, okay, you and I, we really have to make a book together. I don't care what it's about, just make a book together, just us 2 at the cover of the book, that would be awesome. But I didn't know how to knit, and Wim just knitted his, a half year before he knitted his first sock.
Yeah.
So, okay, just write down how to knit, how I should knit a sock, just write it down. Don't tell me, don't make a video, just write it down. And I'm going to learn it. And if I'm going to learn it, that's the great basic for our book.
Because we live quite far away from each other. He's from the Netherlands, I live in Belgium. So just going over for coffee and showing him how to knit was very impossible.
Very impossible,
actually. Yeah. So I started writing down what he should do, how to cast on, how to knit, how to purl. And then when something got difficult, we added some pictures.
They cut the line.
It's open. Okay. And that's actually the basis of our books.
Yeah.
So the knitting instructions in the front of the book are just the way that I taught Dennis how to do the knitting.
from a long line of quilters. Our grandmothers, great-grandmothers, and our mom were all sewists. Our grandma would make us matching outfits, girly matching outfits that we would wear for one picture, and then
they'd be very itchy.
Lots of embroidery. Yeah, and then I started sewing myself when I was in college, and I made my first quilt, which was a king-size quilt for my now husband.
And then we had a previous business together that was a fabric subscription box that kind of came. We come from also a big family of entrepreneurs, and we initially launched a business with our parents that was a subscription box for fabric. Jamie was making, we also did kits in the subscription box. So Jamie was making a bag that was kind of like a sample for like helping people that bought the box of how to make the bag. And she was putting a leather handle on the bag, didn't have straight pins, and then it was away from an edge, so she couldn't use clips. And so she used some magnets. She thought of it. And then she told me, and my background is marketing and design, and I was like, that has to be a problem other people have. And so it kind of sat there, the idea sat there for a little while, but we did end up taking some prototypes that were just black, handing them out for free at QuiltCon 2018 in Pasadena, and people loved them. And so Sew Tites was born. This is actually our original model. It is still our most versatile and popular model. It's used for the most kinds of things. This works well for like 1 layer stabilizer, 2 layers of quilting cotton and cork, but then it's not quite strong enough for like multiple layers of soft and stable if people do buy any bags. And then so we made this one, which is we call our HD, and it's stronger, so it holds multiple layers of stabilizer nice and tight while you stitch. So they all have a metal back and a magnetic top. So every single Sew Tites comes that way. They all are kind of a pair, and so it basically just holds things in place when you don't want to use a pin or a clip or can't. People are using them for crochet and knitting when they're like seaming things together. This model, the HD, works well for that. You kind of just give it a squeeze and it can hold it while you sew the thing together. And then we had industry friends, and they suggested uses like English paper piecing.
So again, the flat piece goes on the back, magnets go on the top, and it just holds it together as you stitch it to really reduce your hand fatigue, so you're not like getting like T-Rex hand as you're working on your English paper piecing. Great for wool applique for the same reason, or even cotton applique is good too.
And your thread doesn't get caught on them either, like it does on a thread or on a pin or a clip. So that's why people love them for that. When we first started, we weren't, even though we knew it was a good idea to buy those free samples that we handed out, we sent some to our subscribers in the subscription box, which we've since shut down. And then, but we started getting called from distributors about 6 months later. So we were like, oh, this is a really good idea, and made them retail ready. So the distributors haven't done a lot for promoting it because they promote to quilt shops. And then we just have also had friends in the industry, so they started sharing on social media. So did other people once they started using them. It's a lot of person to person. We do have an email list as well, and then we do some shows. We do QuiltCon, we do Quilt Festival, we've done Paducah, we do Quilt Week, we've done Road to California, things like that. So just people sharing is really the main way. And some publications have talked about us quite a bit, because it's a new and novel product.
Yeah. So we are at the H&H Americas show. How was that for you? Like, did you meet some new interesting retailers? And we also met at the VIP influencer event. Tell me a little bit more. Why did you decide to be sponsors of that event?
So influencers and people on social media have been huge for our business. Whether it just be friends that we've known and they are big online and they just share about them, or people that we've collaborated with in paid exchange of product or money. And so we do see a lot of value in working with people, especially because we don't do everything that our products are used for. So it's great to work with people who might think of new uses, new product needs, or also just help spread the word about them, because it's good information for everyone.
In the Hoop embroidery was one that came from one of our friends Sue O'Very is the one that
Pruitt, I think now.
and Lisa Bubbles, right?
Oh yeah, Lisa Shaw with
Lisa Shaw.
Bubbles Menagerie.
Yeah. So floating in the embroidery hoop, like neither of us. Well, she doesn't even sew. We didn't get to that part in the intro when you were asking
I
about
do a little bit.
crafting. But neither of us do machine embroidery, so it was just one of the ways that our friends suggested, and it's great. If you can't hoop, especially this bib, so the flat pieces go on the back, and your stabilizer's hooped, and then the magnets just float the top, and you just make sure they're out of your field.
People use it for basting small machine quilted projects as well. This is kind of like a little bit wonky. It's well used, but for when they're machine quilting, they'll use it instead of pins, or like if they're based or binding, they'll slide one down while they hand bind something. And then this model is for loading quilts onto long arm machines. It's a quick load system, an alternative to pins and clips. And then for the knitters, crocheters, those types of makers, we're working on finding all of the different ways that people will be able to use them. But right now, main thing is just for seaming. And for people are thinking they can put their metal crochet hooks on here to hold them and stuff like that. And then our newest product, which is over there, is like a magnetic cutting system. So it's a non-slip system. So people who make labels or need to cut anything, it's a great way to be more accurate, not have to use as much force, and to not slip. So
20 by 24, so it fits a full fat quarter and still has margins around. There's metal in the core and then magnets in the ruler, which gives you your adhesion. And then it just adds traction, so you don't have to push down as hard. You get less fatigue. You still do have to press down, but just not as hard. And you can still move it and make adjustments. There's a beveled edge on the ends to help you move it around. And then if you're doing thick things like cork, these are called boosters, and they have magnets. So magnet plus a magnet equals a stronger magnet. And it comes as a set. So it comes with the mat, the ruler, and 12 boosters. And then here I was making fun of you, and I just set it up wrong.
I was just thinking that.
And then so just like that. Then if you are cutting with a template or a pattern, like a garment pattern, you can use the boosters and just snap them on as you cut around it, or with the acrylic template. And then is this here? And we recommend you use at least 4, just so that it gets around, and then it just holds it as you cut around.
How can my viewers help your company grow?
Buy our product.
Buy it, and just talking about it, sharing it.
If you like them, tell your friends about them.
Yeah.
Or ask your local quilt shop or your local craft store to stock them. We do sell direct wholesale. We also sell through distributors. So that's a great way to support their local shops while supporting us as well.
hope you enjoyed this little recap of H&H Americas. And if you have a craft business, maybe you're going to join me next year and visit the show. I want to thank everyone who spent time with me at the show, whether for short conversation or for an interview. I loved meeting all of you, and you made it very special for me. It's hard to cover everything that happened at that show, but I started with my interview with Tony from TL Yarns Craft, and I continued with my interview of Ellen Lewis from Crazy For You store. This recap is the third segment of that H&H coverage. And also on Thursday, I'll have interview with Darren Stern and Nadine Schwartz, who are organizers of H&H Americas. I hope you'll tune in for that. And next Saturday, I'll have interview with London Cake, who is the artist behind that It's Craft O'Clock installation at H&H Americas. Thank you for being part of my journey. Until next time, happy crafting.